So Luka Nation, ladies and gentlemen of Luka Nation, this is gonna be a fun episode for so many reasons. But I mean, if nothing else, in front of me I have Mike Kafka, the quarterback coach of the Kansas City Chiefs here. That's a guy who collects Pokemon cards, he collects sports cards. This shows how the hobby has completely matured and taken off. And I'm so excited for today's conversation. There's gonna be so much value. You guys are gonna stay and listen to the end. I don't even have to ask. Before we get into talking about sports cards, Mike has a huge auction coming up next week. We are going to talk about how he started collecting all of this stuff. But first, Mike was selected by my beloved Eagles. And on top of that, he was selected by my favorite coach of all time, and Andy Reid. And this is what Andy had to say about Mike. And I love this. This is a quote this is the best. Okay, so Andy Reid says, I think once you meet him, you'll see he's a smart guy. He has some of the intangible things, the leadership. He's a tough kid, inner city kid, Chicago kid. He's got a lot of grit to him, and I think that's important. You have to be wired right to handle you guys and play in the city of Philadelphia. So, Mike, what did it feel like getting drafted by the Eagles? Take us through that night, if you don't mind.
Draft night was unbelievable. I'll never forget the call I got at that time from Howie and from Coach, and having that conversation. I was there with my family. It was just like unbelievable night. Getting to Philly then too, and like just getting kind of immersed in the city and the team. I mean, it's awesome. It's an awesome town for football, and it was a great experience for myself.
I love it. You could tell a lot about a player by how much he improves year over year. And your senior season at Northwestern, it was a testament, right? Because you improved from freshman year to sophomore year to junior to senior year, every single year. And then senior year, you took that next step.
Yeah, I mean, it was an awesome journey. Just like being able to play as a young player, freshman, and then kind of had some bumps in the road where I got benched and had to come back in and do some backup stuff. But then getting a chance as a senior, just really going through that whole journey really like prepared me to play in the NFL and prepared me for all these things like in the future of being a coach, like all those things you can relate to so many different players and you just see so many different aspects of it. I think it's prepped me to be in the position I'm at right now.
It's rare, you often find coaches with your experience, and you get to work with Patty Mahomes. The young goat coming up. And I love that Salvador Perez. I don't know if you guys have seen this video circulate on the internet. Sal Perez, he had to wear a Tom Brady jersey because he lost the bet to the Royals. Tom Brady, and Mahomes were going back and forth on Twitter. And I love that. What I saw in Pat Mahomes, like he doesn't shy away from, being accountable. It's a big leap to say, I'm going to be the GOAT in 20 years. Watch me. And I think that's cool, especially seeing like some of the comments that Trevor Lawrence did. And I'm not here to talk about these guys, but you got a really good future there at Kansas City. I'm so excited for you, Mike.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited too, man.
Listen, awesome. This is the longest episode so far where I've gone without speaking. So I have to add this because we're talking about Mahomes. He's got a long way to go. He does not have a career completion record of 68.8% completion for a career, which you do. So a lot of these guys, when you complete,
I know
you only attempt 16 and you complete 11, right? So you got to tell them, guys. Drew Brees, career completion percentage is less than Mike Kafka, 68.8%. To put it on his shirt.
Yeah.
So it's funny stuff, man, and you have to be able to do it. Like I take credit for everything. I take credit for all my good plays and all Andrew's good plays and people whose plays we didn't even make. I take credit. It was my idea. So how about this for taking credit? You get made the quarterback coach in 2018 for the Kansas City Chiefs. Mahomes that season goes to the Pro Bowl, wins the MVP, and the Chiefs went to the AFC Championship game. The following year, win the Super Bowl. All right, why don't you just retire now?
Just MVP, yeah, right.
Just hang it up, that's pretty awesome. I'm sure it was all you and had nothing to do with anybody else, and that's the story we should stick to forever.
Right,
so obviously you played sports, you were drafted. Andrew's going to talk to you about like draft night, and I'm sure that'll be a fun experience. We don't get to talk to people too often who got drafted or who sat through draft night. And how does someone like you get into Pokemon sports cards initially and then come back to it? So tell us a little bit about like your start in cards and then how we find ourselves here now.
I mean, I'd probably say it's similar to how probably a lot of us did, just doing it with your friends, your dad. Like for me it was my dad, could have been your parents, but Me and my dad did it as a young age, collected baseball cards, would go at the time Toys R Us and, after baseball games and just go get some, get a couple packs, rip them open. Me and my brother were probably more of like the Pokemon, like my brother was more Pokemon and I would, watch it with him. We just kind of bonded through that at a young age when we were, I don't know, 10, 11, 12-ish, I guess those years. And, playing the game on Game Boy and just getting addicted to it. And so we'd go and like collect cards. I mean, grading and any of that stuff wasn't even a thing back then. You just put them in your binder and you're collecting and trading them with friends. And so like that kind of took me up until like high school, and high school, college is when my interest for those type of things kind of just faded. I kept almost everything. Like in my grandpa's attic was just tons and tons of baseball cards. Like going back like 4 or 5 years ago when I kind of got back into the hobby like seriously. I was like, oh my god, I got to go back there and see what like gems now.
It's like a treasure.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
like going
god!
through every binder, looking for everything. I mean, most of it's like the '90s stuff, but still, it's like it was awesome. Just like kind of like go back through that. And so really, like 4 or 5 years ago, I really started getting into it at a high level with some high-end stuff, and just kind of building 1 or 2 cards that were maybe a couple thousand here and there. Just kind of started just like figuring out how I wanted to do this thing, just kind of by trial and error. And that's really, just with those experiences, talking with my dad, me and him would split stuff. We drove one time, we drove all the way out to New York for this massive baseball and football card locker. And it was like tons and tons of cards. I still have them. And I mean, we found like Kobe rookies, we found like some sweet stuff, but there was also a ton of like, WNBA cards and golf cards that were just like we never even saw before. So like just little things like that we've been doing over the last few years that have been fun and continuing to stay in the hobby. But really like those, like I said, 4 or 5 years ago, Pokemon and that kind of like really at a high level, I started getting into it.
So you did Pokemon as a kid with your brother. It's really funny. Your brother was a baseball player, and you're a football, obviously.
Yeah.
And so
athletic family. It runs in the genes. I'm jealous.
Did you collect any football cards?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was, I was doing football cards, and I honestly was just like at the time, it was like those were the more expensive cards for me. And so I was like, all right, well, what other things are out there that I like, that I like collecting? And I was like, oh yeah, Pokemon. I wonder where like those things are at now. Outside of like the Zard at the time, I mean, like first edition Pikachu Red Cheeks PSA 10s were a couple $100. Like you could get those cheap. Like I was building the set for $40 here, $50 here, first ed for PSA 10 cards. So those were inexpensive, and you were able to build a set and like find hollows for really cheap and stuff. So that's really
just
like
timing wise. Just timing wise, you're still playing in the NFL this time, right?
Right.
You're playing in the NFL and collecting, Pikachu Red Cheeks, Blastoise, Squirtle, Charmander. You're collecting, and you're in the NFL.
Right.
So,
right. And so
anybody else collect with you? You know of any other players who collect?
Yeah. So a buddy of mine, I was teammates with Evan Mathis, he was a huge card collector, and he was like at a super, super high level that I was like way uncomfortable, like just personally uncomfortable doing. And so I was like, I can't go after, at the time, like I wasn't going after the $40,000 or $50,000, MJ rookie. Like that wasn't what I wanted to do with the money. So Pokemon was really where I just kind of like found a sweet spot, felt good with like the investment I was putting into it, and just kind of went with that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Was it like, and probably the answer is both, as with all things, but like, was it, you hear all NFL players, they go broke 1, 2, 3 years out of NFL, and you always talk about fiscal responsibility, making the right investment. Is that how you saw Pokemon when you're putting your money into it? Or was it just pure joy? This is what I did as a kid. Let me give it a try. Yeah,
it was pure joy. I mean, it wasn't like I was throwing around like at the time, like 20 or 25 grand. Just like, this was something that like I'd find a nice one that like, $40 for I don't know, like a Squirtle PSA. You know what I mean? Like they weren't that expensive, so it was easy to just like. It was easy to get them, you know, and it wasn't like I felt no pressure on like film the complete set in a day. Like I was just like, yeah, cool. One came up, one was available. It's like, all right, yeah, I can use number 62 and number 65. Like, let's go get that. Like, I'll get those ones. Like, to get them in a week. Cool. I can just put them, stash them away.
I'm the king of the tangent, so we'll come back to the Pokemon stuff. But something Andrew just mentioned. You know, NFL players, a lot of them, you know, they don't put their money aside, and you hear a couple of them, you know, go bankrupt a couple of years afterwards, or you know, have fiscal problems. Did I read somewhere that you are keenly aware of that and actually started up like an MBA thing with the University of Miami?
I did. So I did it right as like my last like year or two playing. I did like an MBA program. It was at the University of Miami, and you actually got an MBA. It was like an executive MBA program. Yeah. And so I did that. I mean, it was an awesome experience. We were down in Miami doing the classes first off, which was awesome. And then we actually did like I don't know, like a field trip. I forget what they actually call it, but it was like a field trip. The whole class went to like LA, and we visited like all these awesome executive movie like Sony Pictures and like all these executives, and like it was awesome like networking events and stuff. So like, it was a cool program. You know, the NFL helped pay for a good portion of it, just within like the NFLPA like programs they have. So that was so cool. You know,
glad I met
some awesome dudes.
I mean, it's good stuff. I've heard through the grapevine that the Dolphins owner does something like that, like you know, an MBA program for the Dolphins players and stuff. You know, brings them to New York and gives them, you know, I mean, not official MBA, so I don't think they get masters, but sort of like a professional transition, what you would do afterwards and that kind of stuff. So
they do cool. They do like cool boot camps for people who want to get into broadcasting that I've heard of that have been like really really cool and like educational and stuff. So those programs have been awesome. Right, I took advantage of that. But I thought it was.
Well, you didn't just say, this is it, I'm done. I mean, it's funny stuff, man. I mean, you know, it's a give back kind of thing. I think a lot
of players go through that though. Like they go through that transition after they're done playing. It's like, all right, what do you want? Like, what are you gonna do now? After you're like, it's checks stop coming, and I think a lot of people struggle. Like a lot of players struggle with that. It's like I don't want to coach. I like the idea of coaching, but when you look at how much time that really is, a lot of guys are like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. And then, you know, they kind of lose their way of like, what direction do I want to go? Like there's no one there like now holding their hand to go to practice and go to school and do that. Like you're on your own. Like, dude, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, it's important to teach that, right, while they're doing it. Because, I mean, what's funny is, you know, you get to that level because you have an ego, right? I mean, everybody has that YouTube because they were the best at wherever they were, the best in their town, the best in their school, the best in their college, the best. Because you make the NFL, you're the best of the best. You're always the best. And to get there, you have to always think, I'm never going to stop playing. Like, I'm going to play until I'm 100 years old. They're going to carry me off on my shield. I don't have to worry about it after this because I'm set forever. And it's not the case for everyone. So it's important, the stuff that you do there. Andrew, you had a question?
No, it's not the case for 99.9%. Like sometimes we forget, like, and I love that point. And Mike, what I think was so cool that you did was you started giving back. You started serving other athletes that were, you know, 4 or 5 years younger than you before you ended. Because, you know, there's that common saying when you retire, whatever level, you know, I played college 1 soccer, so it's nowhere near professional, but it's the same thing. You lose your identity. You're like, who am I? My whole life, I'm an athlete. I win, I compete, win at all costs. And then, you know, it's funny when you stop playing sports, winning changes, right? You have this, like, I want to beat someone all the time. And now it's like actually winning is service, happiness, and helping others. And what's cool that you did is you kind of got ahead of that. And is that just through fate? Because you're a giving guy. Did someone mentor you? Did you meet someone? How did you notice to start doing that beforehand?
You know, I had great coaches, and obviously I felt like I was raised the right way. My parents were awesome. But I had great coaches growing up that, you know, I felt like really, you know, kind of directed me and, you know, who I am today because of those type of people, those coaches and teammates too, I would say, you know, I can rely on too. But, you know, I had great influence as a young player. And I'd probably say that's one of the big reasons why.
And your dad got you into cards early, so I mean, we know all we need to know about him right there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. But, excellent dad. We got it. Check it off. Check off the list.
So
back to the
Luke and Nate, I want to go real quick with something. Luke and Nate, we have two guys today that are kind of on opposite sides of the selling spectrum. So what do I mean by that? And you guys are the judges. Let us know in the comment of these clips and our YouTube video what you think is the right move. Mike has a complete set, first edition Pokemon. Right? We'll leave the Charizard out of it. That's the most beautiful girl at the party. Cage has a complete set, first edition Charizard. He's building that set. He's one away. Mike's selling his on Monday. Can you talk to us about that? What was that decision like? That can't be an easy decision for you.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was something I've been building for a really long time. But there was an opportunity for a pretty big card that we can talk about. We can talk about it on here. I'm okay talking about it on here. The Pikachu Illustrator was a card that just became available to me. And so that was a big decision for me to want to liquidate that set to be able to get the funds for that card. And that's been a card that I've been after for a while now. And so got an opportunity, had to pull the trigger on it. And so now, now I'm in a situation where I'm looking to liquidate that set. I mean, it's a beautiful set, handpicked, the best of the best on every single one of those cards. So, you guys will be happy. Whoever ends up bidding on it will be extremely happy with the quality of them.
So just so everybody knows what we're looking at, we're going to put some links. We'll have some videos out there. But if you're listening to this, it'll be Monday. What is that? The 26th, right? In PWCC's auction. Yep. Like I said, we'll put some links up to some of these things. But basically, you put in, Mike is selling the entire first edition PSA 10 1999 Wizard of the Coast English Pokemon set. So you got your Blastoise in PSA 10. You got your Chansey. You got your Venusaur. You got all these. Your Red Cheeks Pikachu. So amazing set. And
if I could tell anything about Mike's backdrop, these are handpicked. These are nicely centered. These are handpicked cards. He's not just buying some PSA 10. He's buying the card and the slab here. He's selling the cards.
Yeah, exactly. I got both Machamps in there, both versions, the Shadowless and the Unlimited version. I got the Dragonair Air, the Rainbow Air, and the Dragonair as well. Both of those are up. Both Pikachus. Every holo. I mean, it's a beautiful set, man. Hopefully,
what I'm hearing, Cage?
What?
I'm hearing. So Mike, we do a daily show here, and our goal always is to add value to our community. And we're never charging for our content.
Yeah.
It's free. It's, hey, Cage has 40 years of experience in cards. I have 2-3 years, and we just want to share how we're going about this stuff. Well, one of the things Cage talks about, this is maybe his main thesis, is coloring up. So here's a guy who's a multi-billionaire. He got drafted in the NFL, but he's coloring up. When you guys listen to this, in 8 years, he bought these, like you said, Squirtle was $60, the Pikachu was $200. He built this set methodically. And he's coloring that up to a rare Illustrator Pikachu. Think about that, guys. This is Cage's theory, Cage's thesis. Anyone can do it, and that's pretty cool. It's cool to hear the story behind how that works. So, Cage, I want to acknowledge that.
Here's what I want to get out of Mike, because Mike and I are in the same boat. All right, you have two dummies who built the '86 Fleer set and never got the Jordan. Right, two guys who decided we were going to meticulously curate this set of Pokemon, but never got the Charizard. So let me ask it this way: one, if you had to do it over again, would you do it that way? And two, more important, is how close have you gotten to getting a Zard? And tell us some stories.
Okay. Yes. So when I first started getting the cards, I had no intention of building the set. Honestly, I was picking some of my favorite Pokemon out and just getting nice grades. And then after I got probably 30 or 40 cards, I was like, well, I'm decent. I'm already building the set, unconsciously just building the set. And so now I'm starting to aggressively go after some holos and some of the bigger ones to knock them off. And Charizard was just always just my threshold for what I wanted to pay for stuff. It was just always above that I was like, God, I'm not going to throw down, $40,000 for this. And then the next year, $60,000 for this. And the next year, $80,000. And then it just kept on going. until I was like, now it's at whatever 300 and something. I'm like, that's not like it's over. Like that dream is over for me at this point. I just don't have an interest in doing it. Even though now, since then, I probably have bought a 40, a 60. You know what I mean? Like I bought at some point that like a value of that car. So, and then the other thought was like there was probably 3 or 4 opportunities that came up with the 10 Zard, because in Kansas there's a huge Pokemon distributor, Collector's Cash. They're huge, and I've become friends with the owner, Beeman. He does a great job, and like he's been a great connect of just like information on the Zard, on Illustrator, just like rare stuff. Like he's touched a lot of these cards that are out there right now, and so I've been working with him and trying to like get a Zard. He'll get one, but then it's like he wants double of what the last one sold, or like it's one of those type of situations. So I've never got one to where it was like close enough to just pull the trigger on it and just kind of say, all right, done. Like just give it to me. It's just always been that far out of reach for me. And so now, as the set has continued to mature, like the Illustrator, because it's just so rare, there's not much data on it. Like the market value is just, it's very similar to the Zard in that sense. And so for me, like to make an investment to keep the set and keep the money I have into the set to buy a Zard versus liquidate the set to get the Illustrator, that was kind of like the decision I was making in my head. And so I was like, you know what, I can use the funds because of the way that the set has just progressed in value to apply to the Illustrator and just like,
So it's not, you're not selling it because you think, oh, someone's going to buy this and it's going to fall on their face. You still think this is a set somebody's getting a good buy on Monday. It's just using it to move it into something else because there's an opportunity in front of you.
Yeah, and like this, it's one of those things where I just feel like the Illustrator comes around just so like it's so rare to find one, and I just feel like it's as crazy as it sounds. I feel like finding a first edition set is easier than finding a Grail card for the Pikachu Illustrator in 5 years. Like I feel like I can find the set faster and be more available than it would.
Yeah, I don't know how many of the Illustrators there are, but it's single digits.
There's 39 of them. Most of them are locked up overseas, but it's so hard to get them out of the collector's hands. It's I got lucky and got one at auction.
So last I knew, late last year, there were 11 complete sets. You'd see the PSA registry and stuff, and there basically has been somebody selling a set like every month is what it seems. Yeah. And or a partial set at least. So who knows how many sets there are now? But you're right. I mean, those sets, they seem to come up collect, like a fractional share company will sell a set or whatever that. You don't really see the Illustrator too often. And also it begs the question of set versus single. Mm-hmm. What would you rather have? I mean, for me, I'm an Illustrator. I could probably move the rest of the set and get a Zard.
Yeah.
That's always been kind of like, oh, should I move those? So I get what you're doing 100%. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, guys, if you're listening to this and it's before Monday, take a look because there are some stuff. These I'm looking at them now, so I'm looking at them.
Well, you can talk about like the population report on some of those. I think we had a conversation about this before. Just like the Chansey, I think there are like 47 of them now. And that's 25 years. In the next 25 years, you won't see another 47 10s of those, like probably ever in our lifetime.
Yep. And so Andrew likes to make jokes about the Chansey. That's like his favorite card. So you tell Mike.
It's such a funny looking card.
Yeah, I know. It's the most ridiculous one to be the lowest pop. No doubt.
But that's the one because people are trying to get the sets and people are buying these things. All of a sudden, it's,
No, what I've seen? I've seen a lot of just hollow sets. People collecting the hollow set. Mm-hmm. I know several people in the community that just have like 2 or 3 of just the hollow sets, which is pretty cool. But like when you think about the actual numbers of finishing a hollow set, like all right, there's 11 sets, so that there's a quarter of the of the pop locked up.
Yep.
Now there's Chansey collectors themselves. You got to think half.
There
you
are,
know,
man. There are. I don't know why, but there are.
Right. And then there's people that just like want that car, like overseas and in China and Japan, and like those collectors, they love Chansey. Chansey's like a huge character in the Pokemon world. So I mean, that's a hard card to find, man. Really hard.
Cage.
Yep.
Do you know the Chansey's attack?
No idea. No.
Mike, do you know what it is?
No.
Hey, do you know what Chansey's attack is?
It's the scrunch. Flip a coin.
Scrunch.
If heads, prevent all damage done to Chansey during your opponent's next turn. Double edge. Chansey does 80 damage to itself.
He damages himself. See, now I know this is my spirit animal.
Yeah.
Because I damage myself. Well, you see my delegate.
It damages itself. The reason why it's the hardest card to grade is because the surface grade. It damages itself in the pack.
That's right. Little scratches. Difficult to get a 10.
Have you ever gone, into, guys have practice during the season, and you see Patrick Mahomes, because you collect 95% of Pokemon, but you have a few Patrick Mahomes cards. And you ever go, you're like, Pat, like, you made me a lot of money this year. Your 2017 contenders. Have you seen what that's going for? You ever bring that card in and show him the contenders card?
Oh yeah. Oh, he knows. He's seen the majority of the ones I got of his. Either that, I'll like some picture of them. You know what I do? I've been doing this since I got into coaching. I collect the contenders of all the quarterbacks I have. So Chad Henne, Matt Moore. It's just, to me, it's just such a clean looking card. And and I think National Treasures is an awesome job too with the patches and stuff. But for whatever reason, the contenders just look so clean to me. And so I collect all the quarterbacks that we have come through the Chiefs. Alex Smith, contender, Tyler, all those guys. I have contenders of them.
So, funny story from Mike. He told me, and he told me not to tell this, but I'm gonna tell it anyway. He was offered a job this year with the Buccaneers, but he turned it down because he couldn't afford the Tom Brady contenders rookie auto. He said, "I can't work for it. I'd have to buy one." He's like, "I'm not doing that."
Yeah. But yes, I think those are all his stuff has just gone stupid since Super Bowl. I mean, it's insane. But I've been lucky enough to hold on to a few of them.
And baseball
too, man. That's Alex Smith. Yeah. Congrats on. He came back from a gruesome injury to play, retirement, and then Patrick Mahomes. He just had a baby, right? So congrats, Patty Mahomes and family. If he's listening, absolutely, man.
I'm buying the Alex Smith cards now before they even announce the Disney movie that they're making about him because I know they're making one.
Oh yeah, for
I'm
sure.
stashing them way in advance.
They
baseball. Is it Mike Trout and nothing else, or what do we got on baseball?
Salvador Perez. Come on now.
So you know what? I'm gonna go with a local Chicago guy who just came out. Ed Howard got drafted by the Cubs. He went to Mount Carmel. He went to my rival high school. I went to St. Rita. He went to Mount Carmel in Chicago. And so, I was looking out for Chicago guys. He's one of them. And he got picked by the Cubs, hometown guy. So, I like him. I think he's a hell of a player. I've watched a little bit of him. And honestly, I just don't really follow baseball as much as I used to. I've had a couple Mike Trout things and stuff, but haven't really dove as much into it. It's just it's a different world of the prospecting and just all the different I can't keep up with it.
So you don't break your hand in 2012, and Nick Foles doesn't get a shot. I think you beat him out. What do you think?
Yeah, this is what you're trying to get me at. You told me about this. I'm just trying to deflect it. Nick's a hell of a player. That's why Nick's still playing. He's the Super Bowl MVP.
That's it. I mean, that's.
Do you have a statement on that? I have to ask since we went. I didn't think we were going to bring up Nick Foles. So how Philly chased out Andy Reid is number one on my regrets of the city. But two, how do you, after Nick Foles steps in, takes your team to win a Super Bowl when they've never done it, and then you turn the keys over to Carson Wentz next year? How does that make sense?
Hey man, everyone does things a little bit different. They paid Carson a lot of money.
I'm going to give my co-host credit because it's the first time he's mentioned Nick Foles without a vulgarity attached to it.
I'm just a reporter. I got it. It's the internet that says it. I don't start these trends, I promise.
It's funny stuff. All right,
Yeah.
so listen. So you're gonna get this, back on cards, right? So
Yeah.
obviously you're prospecting with some Cubs, which is good. You're gonna get the Illustrator that you got. You're selling these Pokemon. Talk to me, because I know you're a fan of other Pokemon cards. You're done Pokemon, or you're collecting? You
Oh no, I'm not done.
Top Suns. Talk about what
you
you're
know,
gonna be doing
I've
next.
I've done some Top Suns, just a couple, like this Pikachu and a Zard, both greenbacks. I was doing some of the 97 Cardass, like with the prisms and stuff like that, the 97 version. I like those. And then I've really been trying to save and trying to like get funds for some more trophy cards. I feel like that's at the highest end, but they're so rare. And to me, like, I'm just in this mode lately of just kind of condensing, just like really refining what I want to do with the collection versus just like I've had for so many years I've had just like so much stuff, and it was like good to have stuff to have and move. And so like, but now I'm just like, I don't have time to just like manicure it and like put it. I don't have space for it.
Right.
And so to me, I was just like, all right, how do I just like really refine the collection? How to like make tough decisions on what I want to keep, what I want to sell. Knowing that certain things can become available later, and things that may never ever show up, I can add to the collection. So I've been a little bit more selective with what I want to buy, and then just kind of been just like, all right, making more decisive decisions on stuff to sell.
That's it. I mean, Andrew said it's just a consolidation year. So big question here: did you get your hands on any of the Mahomes NFTs?
I did not. I did not. I talked to him. I still think they're cool. I mean, I'm not educated enough in them. I surely looked into them. I'm just not educated enough on that space. Obviously,
me neither. I have no clue.
Yeah, like I love the crypto part of it. I love it. Like I will say I did buy a CryptoPunk. That's one thing I did get like a little while ago. So I've been trying to learn more about, but I'm again trying to be selective and not get burned. I can just feel it. If you just dive in without the right education, man, you're gonna get burned. It's just like it just moves so fast. Very similar to how sometimes cards, you just get in it too deep, and the market moves past you, and you're just stuck holding in your toast.
It seems to be like a common thread, and I think if nothing else, I always love the quote, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And there's no secret as to why people at the highest level play at the highest level. It's preparation, right? Like, you're not going to change anything during the game on Sunday. That's just muscle memory. Right. You're just going to be, if you're unprepared, everyone's going to see. And if you're prepared, everyone's going to see. I think that's a big deal. A lot of people in the hobby, they think like, let me make a play, but they don't think about the preparation, the research, and all of the kind of behind the scenes that make you feel comfortable with the play. So I hope our Luka Nation, if they take nothing else out of this, is that. So you could know what does it take to be a winner at the highest levels.
For sure. I mean, big or small, I mean, it can apply. It doesn't just mean big stuff that you got to, you're exactly right. Big or small, man, you got to figure out if this is the right plan. And, and if something moves, like for me, sometimes like I take too much time planning and it moves past me, like, oh crap, I missed that. Like, but like that you don't want to ride that wave of like, well, last time I should have did it. Well, you just got to keep on to stay in your lane, and just those decisions you don't end up regretting.
Mike, do you have a regret? A card that you sold too soon, or a card that you missed out on? Do you have one?
Oh yeah, for sure. When I was first getting into seriously buying, I went through that of just like, oh, I got like this is the card I want. Boom, let's buy it. Like, but I bought it at like the high, like I set the record for prices on the car. I'm like, what do I just do? Like I can't sell this for like 6 months. Like, and you just learn like, but that made me more like now. 3 years ago, that's where I was. Now I'm just like way more patient. Like, all right, hold on. Let's like ask a few people like, hey, have you seen this car before? What, like, and you just kind of start getting a little bit more just patient with those deals. And like, I felt like I was a big wheeler and dealer earlier on Instagram, doing stuff fast and just like trying to flip and sell, like or flip, sell, and buying and stuff. And then I should have just pump the brakes, collect your cash, let your little pocket like of money grow a little bit. And then, it gets like attack something that you really want, really like is rare, really what you want to work for. Like, I'm trying to think of an example of like what I was just like rushing into early on.
Low grade chances.
Yeah, no. I was pretty strict on just staying within the PSA 10 world. I wasn't buying a ton of low grade stuff, but for like football and stuff. I mean, here's one that I really regret.
Mitch Trubisky's.
No, it wasn't anything like that. Like when I first got to Kansas City, I was like, oh, like Len Dawson, Hall of Famer. I want an awesome Len Dawson auto. So I go on eBay. I'm looking at a Len Dawson auto, and like, oh, this one's sweet. Like, so I snap bought it, and it was like $125. And like, I didn't even. So I'm like, probably 6 or 7 months later, I'm like, all right, you know what? I want a different like Len Dawson. I want a Len Dawson rookie, not just an auto. I look at it. His autos are going for like $45. No matter the grade, no matter the National Treasures card, like no matter anything. And I was like, oh my God, like what am I doing? I just paid 3x on a car, just snap bought it because I was just being like stupid. So
that's a lifelong lesson. You got pretty cheap, so.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, go ahead.
I'm curious. So we're building a network of podcasts, of content here. And one of the things that, it's not just us anymore. In the beginning, it was just Cage and I. We would jump on, we would talk, try to add value. And now we have a team of content creators. And what we're trying to do is set the right culture. And I think there's no one in the league that does it better than Andy Reid. So I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, does Andy Reid, do you have a saying, a philosophy, 1, 2, 3 principles? Could you share a little bit of that, of what you've learned while working with Andy Reid?
Yeah. One of the biggest things that I've learned, and you're right, I mean, the culture is awesome. And there's really the one thing that I've learned the most, I'll tell you this right now, is, how much responsibility he gives the coaches. He gives out responsibilities, and he's able to delineate the offensive game plan, how we coach it. Like he lets everyone have their own flavor and like put their personality on it. And I think that's super important, especially when I just being a young coach and trying to find my way and how I want to teach it with principles and like with structure. He lets you do all of that, and then if something's just a little bit off, he'll take you individually, work with you on it, and then allow you. He doesn't blow you up in front of everybody and blow you up in front of the guys. Like he allows you to coach your position, allows you to put in your input into the offense, and just does it in such a unique way where you feel like you're a huge part of that. And I think as I aspire to be a head coach and a coordinator and those type of things, like that's something that, you got to be able to give your staff the ability to feel that way. Like they actually have a purpose there. And like that, you can't just micromanage it and, you still got to hold them to a standard, but give them the opportunity to put their personality on it.
Do you have to beat the Raiders as badly as you do every time? I mean, can I ask you to take it easy on them this year? I mean, I'm a Raider fan.
They're in division rival, man. Man, it's been a good one.
It's a cool thing. He still keeps it on display. But one of the toughest things I ever had to do in my life was my brother's best man gift that I bought for him for my wedding. Chiefs fan. He was a Montana guy, so he switched from the Niners to the Chiefs. In the '90s when Montana came over and quarterback Chiefs for a little while. But I bought him a Chiefs helmet, autographed by the whole team, like Priest Holmes and Dick Vermeil, and so we're going back obviously away, but it's got like the whole team, pretty cool autographs. got it on display. That was a tough buy for me, man, because as a Raider, I wanted to buy him like a Raider helmet, like a Bo Jackson or something fun, But it's become a cool conversation piece recently. For a while there, he kind of like put it in the corner, But now it's like,
that was with Montana.
So no, I mean when I got married, it was 10 years after Montana was on the team. Gotcha. So it was like Dick Vermeil coaching. Priest Holmes was like the big name.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's like like early 2000s.
Gotcha.
And I'm old, so it's okay. But yeah, now it's got like a prominent display. People come over, it's like, oh, you're a Chiefs fan. He's like, I've been look, it's a Chiefs, it's a 20-year-old Chiefs helmet. I'm not a front runner, look who's on it, So he's riding high. He likes to ride. He likes to give me a shot every time the Raiders play the Chiefs. It's like, your team gonna show up, or are they gonna play like a college team again? So no fun. All right, well, listen, I'll send you some Pokemon cards, and tell Pat to take it easy on my Raiders. No. Okay.
You know what? It was pretty funny. Speaking of like sending cards, like our guys now are opening Pokemon cards, like our own linemen and stuff. Like they're opening them, like the modern stuff.
That's cool.
I'm like, man, that's awesome. Like, then they're doing it as like a bonding exercise. Like, it's been cool.
Really?
Yeah.
So how does something like that happen? Is that something you brought in, or just kind of?
No, not me at all. Not me at all. Just like our guys. I think it was one of our own linemen just started doing it, and like they just all every Saturday night before the game, they just like open like a case, or not a case, but like a box and a bunch of packs. Yeah.
See, and just Pokemon? Did they do any sports kind of stuff, or just do the Pokemon?
I think they've just been doing the Pokemon. I haven't sat in on it or anything, but that's like, that's their big deal. After our team snack, they all go out and open up Pokemon cards.
That's amazing. I mean, and, I would imagine there's more. I mean, we've seen more players, more coaches, more celebrities getting into the hobby. I'm sure you've seen that as well. And now it's funny to hear, the players are actually doing it. So give me a Grail card for you. Could be anything. Could be a sport. Could be football, baseball, basketball, Pokemon. Like, what's a card now? Now that you've got obviously the Illustrator's a Grail card. What else? Give me one or two that you're gonna focus on next.
So the one I'm probably gonna focus on next is the Trophy Genghis Khan. I like that one a lot. Those ones have been going because there's not many of them. So that's one that's kind of got on my radar a little bit, just because of the rarity of it. And then potentially, like, there's only 4 of these. So there's only 4 of the Pika Trophy cards that were printed of each first, second, and third place. Mm-hmm. But I've been hearing rumblings that there may be 1 or 2 of those coming available here in the next few months. So I'm trying to figure out, just to have a plan, if it does come available, that I could potentially make a run at it. But those things are like, I'm not holding my breath, because sometimes it just never shows up. But
I'm sorry to ask, Trophy Genghis Khan?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, well, I'm gonna scour. Well, you guys keep talking.
You gotta give me that one. That one's a sweet one. That one was given out. That one was given out at a parent-child event that I don't want to botch the actual thing, but there was like a parent-child event in China back in 25 years ago, and they had to submit some kind of information to get the card, and I think there's only like 12 or 14 PSA 10s. I mean, even just getting a 9, I think there's only 25 or 24 of them printed. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, it's so low.
Everybody pronounces it differently. Ian, how do you say Kangashan? How do you say it? Kardashian. He says Kardashian.
I'm a huge history guy, and one of the, I don't know if you guys know this, is like The Wrath of Khans by George Carlin is one of the greatest stories I've ever listened to. Like, the story of Genghis Khan is fascinating. So when you said it, I almost did a double take. I'm like, Genghis Khan's trading card? Really? That's super cool. That's really interesting.
How about sports stuff besides the Mahomes cards? We know those. Every card of his is a Grail. What else are you trying to go after?
I had a Brady, like an 8.5 Brady Contenders that I let go way too soon. I regret that one just from a history perspective. I'm not a huge fan of the vintage stuff. Like, my dad loves the Jackie Robinsons and those type of cards, but the vintage stuff doesn't really do it for me. I like collecting just like the quarterback. I like collecting Hall of Fame quarterback. Brett Favre is my all time. So like I had like a PMG, a Brett Favre, and that was awesome. Like that's probably my grail card is to get another PMG Favre.
That's Mike's first post on Collector K was the PMG. Right.
That's my all-time favorite.
Beautiful cards. So off of cards for a second, and we'll let you go, shortly here. But I'm not going to get a chance to ask somebody a question like this. We're in what I consider like the age of the quarterback. Quarterback play is amazing. What Mahomes is doing, what quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, what they're doing, with the arms, legs, you name it. It's an amazing thing. And you get to see perhaps the best quarterback, in the game right now, Patrick Mahomes playing. How do you compare him athletic-wise, arms-wise? Because you were a unique scenario here. You were behind Mike Vick. I mean, you watch Mike Vick play, so similarities, difference. I mean, not a lot of people have been on the sidelines to be able to see both of them play. Yeah,
you know what? They both like just to compare because I think they're both kind of wired the same way, just from like a leadership perspective. Athletically, they're gifted in different ways. I mean, obviously, Mike's ability to run around and do that kind of stuff outside the pocket and downfield was what made him special. Pat has a similar effect, just different. The way the velocity of the football, though, to me is the most similar. I mean, those guys, the ball is just popping out of their hand, from every angle. Sidearm, I mean, every single arm angle those guys can make throws from, and almost like impossible like body position, balance, and the ball's still on the money with velocity. Like that's what I think those two guys are just like unbelievable at. That separates them.
I mean, better question. You've seen them both. Patrick Mahomes or Justin Mahomes? Who's the more athletic?
I'll go with
Jackson.
Patrick.
I apologize, Jackson.
I'll go with Patrick. I know what you meant. Yeah, I'll go with Patrick. Although Jackson has some sweet moves, man.
He's got. I was going to ask who would have more success if Patrick went to Pat Mahomes went to TikTok or Jackson came to the NFL.
I've seen Patrick, bust a couple moves on the field. So I don't know, man. He needs to work on that one. That's one thing.
You gotta love it. Well, listen, Mike, we love having you on. Just one more time, we Monday the 26th, PWCC auctions. Mike's complete set of first edition 1999 Wizard of the Coast PSA 10. You got them all in there. Blastoise, Venusaur, the whole crew. Pikachu, Red Cheeks, the non-hollows. Lass is a tough one, right? There's a bunch of difficult, like Dragonair you mentioned, a bunch of difficult ones even that are non-hollows. So everybody take a look at those. We're going to put some links up for you. Andrew, you got anything to close it out with, Mike?
I'm just excited, man. You're 33. You have your future in front of you, and I know you mentioned you have aspirations to be offensive coordinator, coach. If today's conversation is just a small testament of your preparation, I'm really excited. I think your future is so bright. I'm rooting for you. I know our community is rooting for you, brother. I'm excited to do one of these in like 15 years and be like, makes sense why he's reached the levels he has. But I just wish you all the success, short-term, long-term.
Yeah, thank you guys. Huge fan of the podcast and what you guys are doing in the community. It's been awesome following y'all. Look forward to talking again soon.
Thanks, Mike. Have a good weekend and good luck on Monday.
Yeah,
I may snag a few myself. So if you plan on bidding these, be careful, guys.
Keep you a little competition.
Take care.